Yay, there we are. Hypno World Hypno News live with that there Jim Kellner. I don't even know how to turn my camera around so I can show you him, but he's definitely there.
I'm definitely here, people. I'm definitely
He's
here.
definitely there. He's definitely there. So, how's it going, Jim?
Going fantastic. I want to say hello to my TikTok audience who's watching live. You are watching Hypno News Live with Jim Kellner and Grant Saunders.
That's true. That's true. I'm Grant Saunders, and he is Jim Kellner.
Indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, it is good fun. We've got some interesting things planned for this upcoming. I'll put that there. Put that there so it can just do what it's doing in the corner. We've got some interesting stuff planned for the show, and again, the future of the show as well.
Yes, the future of the show. Absolutely.
The future of the show.
Yeah.
So we just move that our countdown timer there as well, and get away with that.
There we go.
So yeah, so it's been interesting to see all the stuff coming out for Hypno Thoughts as well. There, all the speakers have been kind of being announced,
right?
Which I know I messaged you about it. I thought it was quite interesting because I saw everybody announcing that they'd been, they'd got the contracts and they'd been asked to speak at Hypno Thoughts, and I know we're doing some stuff there together.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, hopefully. And it was so weird to have not got my speaker stuff through, and I got a bit nervous for a while, and eventually I bit the bullet and decided to act like a needy teenager and message Scott. I'm like, those people that aren't successful, do they get a note to say they've not got through? And he's like, yeah, eventually. Yep. Yeah, eventually. So yeah, so that was but yeah, and then I actually gave them the correct email address, and then it came through. So that was quite good. So patience definitely does pay off. So
absolutely, yes. I'm glad to hear. I was surprised when you didn't think you were going to be in. I was pretty surprised.
So was I.
And of course, I'm in. I found out immediately.
Well, of course, yeah. I think you were the first one. I think they had to let you know before they let anybody else know.
I do believe that's the case. Absolutely, Grant. Thank you.
What's
that?
Yeah, it's nice to see the groups of people kind of chatting away in the groups and the forums as well about it. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good engagement in that group, and they've got the challenge video and things like that. So that's some really cool stuff. Yeah.
I mean, we were just mentioning this earlier, but if you are speaking at a conference coming up, or you got training or anything coming up you want to announce, get in touch with us. Send us like a 30-second or 1-minute video promoting your upcoming talk or your upcoming whatever program it is that you're at a conference, and we will do our best to share that as well, just to get the word out there, it's what this is about, isn't it, Jim? It's about spreading the good word of hypnosis.
It really is. And, like we talked about before, we were surprised that nobody else was doing this right now. But, here's the thing. Get that information to it as soon as possible, because if a whole bunch of people start sending it pretty soon, we got to cut back on that. So if you sent us something like, say, next week, probably get it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're in at the beginning, which is so important as well.
Right.
So we've got some interesting stuff on kind of conference talk. We try and find a new conference every week and talk about some of the stuff that's going on. And we try not to make it just about me and Jim. Right. We try not to. It's difficult.
It's difficult.
But again, if anyone is watching from this particular conference, I'm sure both me and Jim would happily go and do something over there. And that's the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology have a hypnosis conference in Tokyo.
Wow.
Exactly. That's the ICH in 2023. I believe it's September time in Tokyo, but I am all up for that.
Wow. I'm just thinking, are they still accepting proposals? I might just put something in.
It can't do it. In fact, when is it? Oh no, yeah, it's a bit. Yeah,
September 19th. Hey, click the links, folks. Go find out if they're. What a great thing to go speak in Tokyo, huh?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's one place I've never been to, but I do plan on going. I said I was going to do it for my 50th for Tokyo.
Wow. So 10 years ago, and you still haven't made it, huh?
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, so we've got some interesting in the news stuff. This is an article you found. Was it Forbes magazine?
Yeah, Forbes magazine, pretty cool. A major news publication like that, publishing info. So check that out. It's one of those great articles to share with folks about hypnosis. It's as we've talked about before. We mention these things over and over because not everybody watches every episode.
Yeah.
I mean, crazily enough. But one of the things I know I'm probably when you're teaching too, Grant. When I'm teaching, a lot of my students are like, well, I don't want to be too out there, which is in my opinion crazy. You're shooting yourself in the foot. But I don't want to promote myself too much. This is a great way to promote hypnosis, and they're going to go, oh, by the way, you're a hypnotist. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the prestige by association.
Exactly.
And it's weird. It's a really interesting story. It's not a long story, don't worry.
We got 14 minutes.
Yeah, there's a local tailor to me called Owen Scott's. They're great at press releases. But Conor McGregor did a fight a couple of years ago in Las Vegas, and he had a suit made, a pinstripe suit, and the pinstripe of the suit, if you looked closely, basically said "F you."
Oh.
And it was quite controversial. The cloth was made local to Huddersfield, where I am now.
Wow.
But Owen Scott's, there's tailors, because when you have cloth made like that, you have to have it. You have to buy the whole reel. Owen Scott bought all the remainder of the fabric, and then started producing or making suits and ties and handkerchiefs in the same fabric, as in like fame by association.
Right.
Everyone, including a lot of the local press, a lot of the national press, put 2 and 2 together and made 10. And then were like, oh, Owen Scott's tailors, the ones that made Conor McGregor's suit.
Oh, wow.
And literally, they got as much fame off that than what the actual people that did make the suit from. And that really put them on the map. And so it's a similar thing. If you're seeing someone having a massive success with hypnosis, if you share that success, people associate that good news with you as well, and it can only do you good.
Yeah, and this is a great article because we get so many people they'll message you like, what is a hypnotism? What is a hypno, whatever. And this way, this kind of says, it's what is hypnotherapy. So it really breaks it down. Yeah. Hypnotherapy, hypnosis, and it kind of gives people a good description of what it helps with and all of that. So just really good informative piece.
Yeah, and it is. It's just about the more we can spread the good word of hypnosis, the positiveness of it, and that's not even a word, but the more we can spread the good news, the better it is for the whole industry.
Exactly.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
Yeah. So in training, we always try and find a training that's coming up as well. Now we know there is millions and millions of trainings out there.
Right.
And so, but there is you're always going to find, especially when you search this for them, there's always certain people that always stand out that are always going to be there. There's some of the big training schools. And so, yeah, but this one is, again, Canada. So not British, not from the USA. But I know. But this is Mike Mandel, who's almost American. They've got an in-person live training in spring 2023. So now's probably the time if you're interested in getting more information on that, get in touch with them. I mean, Mike Mandel is Mike Mandel. He is a rock star when it comes to hypnosis training.
Oh yeah, him and Chris just knock it out of the park. I mean, they really are. This is what I tell people. I tell them they're like the rock stars of the conferences. I remember the first year I went, 2017. There were people yelling out, "Give me a T-shirt," and they were throwing T-shirts.
Wow.
They had some Mike Mandel T-shirts made up that were really cool looking. And I mean, really, it's like the rock star of
business. I'll know I've made it as a hypnotist when I've got the T-shirt guns.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah. I want a T-shirt gun that just fire them out. We're not allowed them here in the UK. I think you need a firearms license for them here. But yeah, I saw one somewhere, and I was just like, well, that is really cool to like fire T-shirts at people.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
I
they're
don't
mainly,
want it. Take it.
yeah, I think they're meant for stadiums, but I think, even in some of these smaller workshop rooms, I think just t-shirt to the
Right.
face.
Totally. T-shirt to the face.
That's our new induction, Jim.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
The Kellner and Saunders protocol.
Yeah, which we will be training you how to do that. The research, again, quite interesting. Again, coming out of Australia, so that's 2 weeks in a row. We've had some interesting research from Australia, and that's on the use of hypnosis and brainwashing and cults, which was a really interesting. It's a PDF file, is that kind of goes into some of the research that was done in Australia on that. And I think around about that time in the 50s and 60s, there was a lot of people looking at hypnosis, if it could be weaponized. And I think there was a lot of the research done there. And I think nowadays it's all very, woo-woo and wishy-washy. So, a lot of the fears have been dispelled. So it is quite interesting to read some of that older research as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is coming up?
Well, for funny bits, we actually got a copyright violation a few weeks ago because we posted a really funny. I mean, they should be happy about it, but anyway. So when we can't find those non-copyrighted clips, Grant and I are going to tell a story. Or if you've got a story you'd like to tell, make a video, shoot it to us, or a clip from your show. If you've got a funny clip from your show, in fact, I might share one. As I'm just thinking about it, a really funny one. But so Grant is going to tell us a funny story about his show, something that's happened at his show.
Do you know what? I mean, the funny story that I always talk about is the time when I performed at Balmoral, which was, for me, it was, I'm sure I've told you this story, Jim.
A couple times. Wait, how many?
The other side of the story that people don't often know about is the fact of, at the end of the show, I was running around because I needed to get back to another show the following day. And then in doing so, pulled my car up at the side of the castle, ran in to get my equipment. And then, at that time we were in high alert, and you can't do that when the Queen's in residence. So I ended up getting tackled to the floor and pinned down by armed police, screaming at me because they thought I was a terrorist. And I was stressed because I knew I had no time in my window in order to get to my next show. So
you had no time to be arrested.
Well, I was looking to not get shot. I think it's about that. Be prepared and be organized. I consider myself quite a successful stage hypnotist, but I'm not a very organized stage hypnotist.
I'd say that's my biggest downfall. Is organization.
Well, I told you that last week when I turned up at my venue, and I was quite pleased. I had all my contracts and everything in place. And when the booker was questioning whether they'd booked a hypnotist, I'm like, "Bush, there's my contract." And I was quite smug about it. And at which point the booker's gone, "No, if you look at the date, you'll find that's next week." And so I'm there tomorrow, actually. So that's going to be quite interesting.
Fantastic. Now I'm back for real this time.
Exactly. I'm going to kick those doors in like, ta-da, guess who's back? But no, I think it's so important to treat stage hypnosis as a business, have those organization skills, have those structures, those strategies in place. Because if you have to leave it up to your brain, sometimes your brain just lets go. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to put a strategy and put a plan in place for all of my 2023 now.
So am I. Yeah. It's like we're collaborating on a bunch of stuff, so we're really coordinating that schedule as well. I've got this great big calendar. It's a dry erase calendar. It's a big one, like 3 feet by 5 feet or something. So I can write all the dates in. I like to get a nice global view of everything. It helps me a lot. And then I keep a notes file too, so I can quickly just look it up if I've got a date free. But it's funny you talk about artists. Artists are kind of known for being disorganized. That's part of our superpower as well. But if you want to be successful, there's and Grant and I, we joke about being organized, but we certain amount of organization, right? We return emails and we send out information stuff. But the more organized you are on that, whether it's yourself or with an assistant, I think the more successful you're going to be. That's that's really combining the two, organization and creativity.
Yeah. I think the challenge that people have is if they're not organized, or they think they're organized when they're not. I know I'm not a detail orientated person. I'm a big picture person. So I need to have things in place in order to make sure that that's right. Otherwise my world becomes chaos. So it's about knowing what your strengths are, working with them, and having systems in place to look after the things that isn't necessarily your strengths. So sometimes that means hiring people in. Sometimes that means, setting reminders on your phones every 15 minutes until a job is done. And I think that's a good tip for any business. Really, you get to play to your strengths. So I know 2023. I've kind of said, you know what? I've always said I was going to blog more. I'm definitely going to blog more in 2023. I'm going to kind of set aside some time.
Me too.
Do you know what? Set aside.
You just got to make the time for it. There is no, I don't have time. You make the time. That's what you do.
Yeah. I saw a great thing the other day, and it's such a motivational meme. It's inspired me. It said if you don't have enough time in the day, get up half an hour earlier. Just get up half an hour earlier, and then just spend that half an hour doing that. So that's what I'm doing.
Yep. I agree completely. And I'm same thing. I'm working on a lot of new content for the new year.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. It helps like what we do. We do talk, we do bounce ideas off each other. And I think that helps, especially as stage hypnotists. We sometimes suffer from that whole, you're in your own lane, doing your own thing and not worrying about what other people are doing. That can have a negative effect sometimes, because you need someone to go, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Can you maybe do this? And once you verbalize an idea, it has such a massive impact as well.
Yeah, in fact, one of the things that we were talking about, we're going to add a segment to this is hashtag pro tip.
Yeah,
I think that's a great pro tip. There's I'm much more connected in the community now with certain individuals, and I know there are hypnotists out there that really think that they are the number one thing in the world. They think they can't learn anything, and they're also afraid people are going to steal their ideas.
Yeah,
ideas are a dime a dozen. It really is the action. And I really do find that the more, there's a saying, Grant, it says, it says, the bigger, something like the bigger my network, the more net worth I have. And I have found that to be true. The more people I know, the more people I connect with, the more money I make. Really, truly.
Absolutely. And that's it. It's about what you can do for service. What can you give? And if you're giving value, if you're raising the bar for everybody else, it's only going to kind of pay dividends in the long run. I think that mentality that we used to have in the kind of 80s and 90s of, it's just business, it's nothing personal, snatch. That now it's just, it doesn't work. And the world that we live in is not like that anymore. So it is about, how can I be of service to my fellow professionals, to my clients, to my bookers. It's a very serious show tonight, Jim.
Very serious show. I just want to say too, I love what you said about being of service, because that's one of the other things is a lot of times in networking type situations, people are like, what's in it for me? How am I going to make more sales, whatever? And that is the biggest turnoff. If you've ever been to a meeting like that, and I can remember this one guy, and I'll never forget this guy. He stood there, and for 10 minutes, he rattled off every book he's ever written. He had written 3 or 4 and all these accomplishments. And I'm just thinking, dude, why do I care?
Yeah.
It's so you really got to be about give and take, and I mean, if you need help with that, read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Truly.
Yeah. One of the greatest personal development books out there as well. But I think that's it's one of the things about when you stand on stage and talk. One of the things that got me over my nerves about speaking on stage was not about in the beginning. It was about, are they going to like me? Now it's about, am I going to be able to deliver value to those people? And that's what it is. If you're doing the best to deliver value, you're always gonna get the money that you deserve.
Yeah, Wayne Dyer had said something, and you just reminded me of that too. He said, "Wake up every day and ask, how may I serve?"
Absolutely.
Great quote.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jim, it's been spot on. We've not run out of time today as well, which is good. Even though I have terrible lighting today, so I look whiter than I normally look, to be fair.
I've still got the orange lights, so I'm still looking tan.
Yeah.
Possibly Trumpish. I don't know.
Yeah.
Trumpian. Is it Trumpish or Trumpian?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, is he running for president again over there?
Yeah, boy, I probably. Probably.
Yeah,
I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, stay away from politics, obviously. So if any conference organizer or if someone's running a training or a workshop and they want to come on, we're only going to give them a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes spot to kind of promote their wares. But I think it'd be really good. And if you know someone that you think it'd be great for, do let them know. Tag them in the comment section for this as well. Let us know, and then we'll get in touch with them and get them on the show.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Who do you want to be your first guest? Who would you like to see on as a guest?
Well, I think Richard Nongard and Jason Lynette are doing the one in February. I think that'd be great, unless we can find the organizer for Charmed. That's coming up in January.
That'll be really interesting. That, I mean, we joke about it, but I think that'd be really interesting.
Well, there's a lot of people in our community that they serve people in that space, and so good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I say, Carol Moon says,
hey, Kendall, good to see you.
No, I don't know if that's an O or a O.
Right.
So yeah. Kendall, great to have you on here as well. So yes, that is it from us this week. We are 2 minutes over, which is good. Considering we started this sentence with "we've not run over" and we've run over. Brilliant. So yeah, same time next week, Jim.
Same time.
Cheerio.
Hey, thanks for watching. Green Butterfly, nice to see you there. Fantastic. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching.